What's really going on behind the walls of BTS's Jimin mansion? Why did HYBE suddenly panic and take extreme measures? Dan, is it true that Jungkook was caught on camera doing something shocking? Get ready, because this news will open your eyes to surprising facts that have never been revealed before. Have you ever imagined what if the private life of a world idol was exposed just because of one small hidden camera? Dan. What if the content of the tape not only shocked fans, but caused an entire agency uproar and even sparked a mass panic in the South Korean entertainment industry? Today, the world of K-pop is rocked by astonishing news. An internal source, who cannot be named, told our investigation team about the existence of CCTV footage at the residence of one of the BTS members, Park Jimin, which was mysteriously scattered in limited circles, but strong enough to trigger a storm in the body of the giant agency HYBE labels. But what is most thrilling? In the footage, it is clear that Jungkook did something that immediately made HYBE's management team and all the fans of the world in a state of severe shock. What really happened? First question. Who put the CCTV? Why did no one, including HYBE's security staff, realize that Jimin's house, known as one of the idols with the highest personal security system in Korea, could have embedded a hidden recording device? An internal report stated that the recording was not from HYBE's official security system but rather from a third-party device not registered in Jimin's smart home network. This is not just an invasion of privacy, but an alleged high-class intrusion. To make it even more suspicious, the footage not only shows Jimin's personal activities, but also Jungkook's secret visits at times not officially announced to the public or management. This is what makes netizens and global fans go wild speculating. In one piece of footage, Jungkook is seen entering Jimin's house at around 2:47 a.m., without an escort, with no official schedule record, and even without a mask or disguise as usual. What's more surprising? He was seen carrying a black suitcase that until now has not been known. A few minutes later, the living room lights went out. Then, a faint voice sounded like the sound of broken glass and a quiet laugh followed by the sound of an acoustic guitar. Is this a secret song rehearsal? Or something more personal? Some fans believe this is part of a secret project that has not yet been announced. But another internal source said that Jungkook looked nervous, as if he was hiding something. As soon as this recording became known to internal parties, the atmosphere of HYBE headquarters immediately turned into an emergency. In less than 12 hours, the technology investigation team was called in, the central data was analyzed, and even the BTS members' private networks were resecured. One staff member who declined to be named said It's not just about information leakage. It's about a rift in trust and possible internal sabotage. We are really in a crisis position. HYBE later issued a confusing official statement. They admitted to an attempted breach of the security system, but refused to provide details about who the target was and who the culprit was. Protect Jimin and Jungkook mystery had become trending in more than 25 countries. Fan reactions were divided. Some asked HYBE to reveal the full facts, and others called for a halt to speculation in order to protect the privacy of the members. But more and more days, the pressure on HYBE to open the voice is getting higher. Fans demanded, who installed the CCTV? Why was it not detected in the first place? What was in Jungkook's suitcase? Is this music or project related? Anything else? In the latest development, a former BTS staffer leaked that this kind of incident is not the first. Even in 2022, HYBE had already found illegal recording devices in the rehearsal studio but kept it secret for fear of triggering a scandal. There is someone from within who may be flirting. But everything related to BTS is strictly guarded so as not to get to the public. If this is so, then the question is no longer what happened, but rather, to what extent have these illegal leaks and surveillance been going on all this time? Some wild theories began to circulate. They range from alleged sabotage by industry competitors to the possible involvement of outsiders who want to bring BTS's reputation down at any cost. There was also speculation that the footage was actually part of an unreleased BTS documentary, but it was accidentally leaked. But internal sources dismiss this theory quickly. If it's a documentary, why is HYBE panicking? They will promote, not shut up. Will HYBE open the entire tape and explain the true events? Or will they continue to play behind the scenes, hoping that the public will soon forget? One thing is for sure, public confidence is now on the edge. And what happens in Jimin's house could be the beginning of a major shift in the K-pop industry, where privacy, security, and integrity will be publicly tested. Even when Jungkook stood alone in an international interview that was supposed to be his personal stage, he was asked about his group mates. But the sincere answer he gave turned out to be cut out in the final version. All sentences implying close and emotional feelings towards Taehyung were completely removed. The former global content editor stated in a trembling voice that they were ordered to remove elements that could evoke the perception of non-business relationships among certain members. What is meant by a friendship that is too strong? Or is there a concern that the public will see a deeper love that cannot be controlled or packaged with labels? Behind the scenes, some internal workers claimed that Jungkook's solo project was almost cancelled because the lyrics of the song were considered not in line with the company's values. The lyrics are about loss, pressure, and someone he misses in silence. During one of the demos, there was a section where she sang, "You were the light when I was trapped in glass," which some of the staff found too personal and poetic. The song was never released, and the name of the track, according to leaked internal working files, is Violet Room. Too obvious for those who follow this story with open eyes. More surprisingly, a number of leaked contract documents revealed a bizarre clause, an explicit restriction on members' freedom to share emotional statements directly with the public without PR approval. It's not just about politics or corporate ethics, but includes expressions of deep feelings towards co-workers or fellow artists, both written and oral. How can two human beings who have grown up together for more than a decade be silenced just because their intimacy can't be sold in the way corporations want? There was also a chilling testimony from a former personal assistant of Taehyung, who stated that in the months leading up to his solo project, Taehyung experienced psychosomatic symptoms due to pressure to appear masculine, mysterious, and not very warm. Such an image is not his desire, but rather the demand for so-called branding more can be sold to the non-fan market. When she rejected one of the perfume advertising concepts that explicitly led to her objectification, she was scolded in front of the creative staff and told, "You are not an indie artist, you belong to the public." Ownership. The word kept ringing. Taehyung and Jungkook are no longer individuals. They are products, narratives, myths created and cared for not for themselves, but for an industrial machine that only moves when the human being inside it can be repressed to the limit of emotions. Even when they hinted that they wanted to pause, to breathe, the company responded with a warning that the contract is still running, and the expectations of the fans must not be betrayed. But the real fans never asked them to be machines. True fans just want them to be happy, free, and be themselves. The most controversial was a recording from the International Division's boardroom mentioning Taehyung and Jungkook's names directly in one cold sentence. This couple is too lively, too sincere. They make us have no power over the narrative. It was the word couple that set the whole discussion on fire. Has the company realized there is a special relationship, but chose to silence it? Is that love? Is it a soul connection that cannot be explained in the language of business? And if there really is such a relationship, what's wrong with it? Why should love or closeness be seen as a threat? Why not as a force? Now the question is no longer, are they being treated unfairly? But even more creepy, to what extent have they been secretly persecuted? The burning anger among the army is not just anger at injustice. It's an explosion of disillusionment with a system that sells intimacy but forbids love, which ignites emotions because the sincerity of two human beings is destroyed for the sake of numbers, images, and narrative control. The army is not stupid. They know when a smile is a smile and when a smile is a mask. And when the public began to scroll through old archives, concert videos, behind-the-scenes interactions, and live broadcasts, a pattern was noticed that was previously considered only a coincidence. Taehyung seemed to be pulled away when he was about to approach Jungkook on stage. Jungkook is seen holding back from mentioning Taehyung's name in a private live session despite clearly being referring to him. There is a forced rigor, there is a deliberately maintained distance. Now it's all like a puzzle that complements each other, not because fans are too delusional, but because the system is too clever to hide reality. In another leaked internal document released by a whistleblower claiming to be a HYBE digital trends analyst, it was stated that the Jungkook taehyung pair, widely known by the nickname taekook, was deliberately noted as a potential threat to the balance of the cross-market fan base in an annual report. The analysis described a correlation between their interactions and a surge in loyalty that weakens the distribution of support to other members. This indirectly suggests that the company is more focused on market stability than on the emotional well-being of its artists. In other words, their proximity is not just unsupported, but actively restricted. Even more painful is the issue of a kind of emotional contract, a term used to describe an unwritten prohibition against showing too explicit personal closeness in front of the camera, especially with certain members. One of the longtime creative staff revealed that there was an incident where Jungkook wanted to upload a selfie with Taehyung on his birthday, but the upload was held back for more than 17 hours by the internal media team on the grounds that it had to pass a brand impact evaluation. Does a photo of a celebration between friends need formal permission? Is the closeness between two people who care about each other considered a business risk? The question was further raised after the public discovered that some spontaneous interactions between the two at international events were never shown in the official version. In the concert documentary Speak Yourself, which was released to the public, several seconds of emotional interaction between the two at the closing of the concert were cut for no apparent reason. Despite the fact that the fans who attended in person admitted that the moment was one of the most touching, are they only allowed to be seen as performance machines, not humans with real relationships? A former video editor even admitted that there was an explicit directive from management during the documentation editing process that don't expose too much of the closeness of the two individuals in one frame that is too intimate. The sentence, although it sounds diplomatic, is actually a form of veiled restraint. In fact, he said, some editors felt guilty about having to cut out precisely the most honest parts of the footage. It's not fan service. That's a genuine feeling. But we were told to disguise it as a regular scene. What makes things even darker is an internal report on how Jungkook and Taehyung's mental health was once the subject of discussion, not to provide support, but to be considered as a promotional strategy. In one meeting note, it is written that their presence in a time of personal crisis can be used to create an emotional connection with the public, as long as it does not deviate too much from a positive image. This sentence proves that even suffering can be an asset, as long as it is packaged in a way that can be sold. The biggest irony is probably the fact that the two artists known as the warmest, most sincere and most loving people in the group are victims of a system that sells them kindness without ever really protecting them. Taehyung, who has always been known as an aesthetic figure with deep thinking, was called too philosophical for a daily content strategy, while Jungkook, who always wanted to speak honestly through his music, was given the direction to not be too personal so that the message remains universal. They are asked to be universal when all that makes them loved is precisely the irreducible uniqueness. There were also reports of a closed-door meeting between the agency and the legal team, following rumors of an internal staff petition that rejected extreme intervention in the two members' personal lifestyles. The petition, if true, lasted only 2 days before all the signs disappeared from the internal servers. Is this just a regular digital maneuver? Or is there a silencing operation deeper than we can see? Meanwhile, the public began to suspect that the agenda of their solo projects that do not intersect with each other is not the result of personal choice, but a systematic design so that both of them do not have a public path that can strengthen their emotional relationship in the eyes of the world. This is further reinforced by the fact that almost all interactions between the two post-2020 occur clandestinely and unplanned live, or in moments recorded by fans unofficially. And now an even bigger question arises. Will the public shut up about this? Are we just going to be spectators staring at two light-filled humans trapped in the darkness of a system that only cares about stocks and imagery? Or is this the moment when the army as a global power truly realizes that the love we give to our idols must also mean protection? One indisputable fact: if all these confessions are true, then this is not only about unfair treatment. This is structural exploitation. It's a modern form of emotional slavery wrapped in the glitter of the entertainment industry. They, Taehyung and Jungkook, are not only victims of a business contract, but also of a redefinition of humanity, where gentleness is considered weakness and honesty is considered a threat. Jungkook secretly liked Taehyung's posts on social media that the agency did not highlight. The monitoring team immediately noted it as a non-standard relational activity that must be considered for the evaluation of interactions between members and public. In HYBE's 2021 digital policy document, which was leaked to the public through an anonymous whistleblower account, it is explicitly stated that forms of interaction that lead to personal closeness between members that create excessive emotional attachment need to be mitigated. What does the phrase excess emotional attachment mean? Who determines what level of emotionality two human beings who have lived together for more than a decade can have? When Jungkook said during one of the live broadcasts, "Sometimes I want my life to be like an ordinary person, not curated," internal staff reportedly immediately called the PR team to make a clarification broadcast in less than 24 hours, just to balance the image of a happy idol. Even when Taehyung mentioned wanting a long hiatus after promotion, he was asked to postpone his statement with the reason, brand partnership is not ready to accept the narrative of mental rest. In a note that was never released to the public, it was discovered that management once suggested that the two reduce expressions of affection in front of the cameras. This includes spontaneous hugs, meaningful silent looks, even their sitting position in the interview. If they get too close, the fans speculate too much. If it goes too far, fans will be disappointed. But if we let them go free, our system collapses. Once the contents of an internal memo were leaked and are now the subject of discussion on secret fan forums, there are still many darker ones. Once, during a recording session for Taehyung's personal documentary, he tried to include a poem he wrote during depression, but was rejected on the grounds that extreme emotions cannot be franchised. In business language, that means your feelings cannot be cashed. That hurts. That's inhumane. But that's the system run by a company that stands on behalf of the creativity and freedom of artists. Furthermore, the report from the former security coordinator mentioned that some of the interactions between Taehyung and Jungkook that occurred were personally recorded and monitored for reasons of anticipating narrative conflict. In other words, their intimacy is spied on, not because of the danger from the outside, but because the company is afraid of the truth emerging from within. Like there is a deep fear of love, of honesty, of relationships that cannot be polished. The public doesn't know, or pretends not to know, that Taehyung once disappeared from all media for nearly 2 weeks not because of illness or a secret schedule, but because he refused to sign endorsement contracts that he said exploited his body's aesthetic value. Jungkook, on the other hand, had to cross out all the songs in his first solo album because he felt he was not writing for himself, but for a version of himself that was compiled based on a market survey. Which is crazier? They were once offered an internal reality drama scenario that presented their daily lives in a scripted way, yes, scripted, with plot, conflicts, and even moments of engineered jealousy. When they refused, the project was transferred to another member with a more flexible approach. Taehyung immediately shut down his laptop during the meeting. Jungkook walked out without saying goodbye, and 2 weeks later, they disappeared from public interviews. Now we are forced to swallow the fact that two of the most beloved figures in the industry may not only be struggling with the outside world, but also struggling not to lose their inner selves.